Greetings, everyone. Before we close out September, I wanted to discuss what it's been like to have 1 year of Monster Hunter now. And hopefully, this video will encourage more people to start playing or keep playing if you've been finding yourself a little down in the dumps lately. Now, Monster Hunter now has been a very interesting game. If you are historically a Monster Hunter fan and player, you're essentially it's a complete 180 from what you're accustomed to, right? Let's start with time. Most Monster Hunter hunts in previous games had a maximum time of about 50 minutes to hunt a monster, which means that no matter how strong or weak your equipment was, you were given time to strategically prepare to hunt down a monster. Now, the average hunt out there can be about 10-15 minutes, mostly on the 15-minute range, but I've definitely had some first encounters that has been like 45-minute long fights, right? Now, with Monster Hunter now, it's all about, I want to say, convenience and time effectiveness, right? Majority of all of these hunts, except for Elder Dragon interceptions, are 75 seconds long. So now you're condensing a 15-minute time span to hunt in a minute and 15 seconds some of your favorite monsters. But it's all in the interest of time, right? It's a mobile game. You don't have the time to stand in the middle of the street and spend 15 minutes fighting some strong monsters, hopefully getting that part you need to complete an armor or a weapon. So I do think this is one of the better features of this game. And it's more convenient for people who need to be introduced to the series so they're not constantly saturated or at least hit with some really long play times, right? You're not forced to play for hours just to get what you need. Now, I say that, but you are still forced to play for hours just to get what you need because unlike previous Monster Hunter games, you don't get as much drops. So you'll have to consistently farm a monster a lot more than you would normally have to in a system to get the parts that you need. You know, make armor, weapons, all of the gears that you need, mix and match in sets, just so you can get that perfect DPS check to hunt the next monster, right? So in that sense, I believe for a mobile game, it's one of the smarter choices what they did with time. But let's get into more details, right? When Monster Hunter Now dropped, we had about 12 or 13 monsters. Now, this was a nice, fun introduction because if anyone who knows the series, you know they have hundreds of monsters to choose from. So people could go out, similar, to Pokemon Go, but instead of catching Pokemon, you're hunting them, right? So it was very convenient to just be able to pull out your phone whenever you need to and hunt some of these monsters. And the gameplay that's necessary, the controls are very simple. Now, weapons. They did a really good job of releasing a decent amount of weapons in the beginning, making it very convenient to people. If you weren't used to playing Monster Hunter Now and you started off with the Sword and Shield, you were in good hands. Sword and Shield was probably the best weapon in the game at launch, followed by bows. Right? There was nothing you couldn't beat with a Sword and Shield. As a dual blade lover myself, I was slightly disappointed because my favorite weapons weren't out yet, but they would later on be dropped literally 3-4 months later. So not too much complaints, except for the fact that, when I had to switch weapons, dual blades didn't have a fancy quest to get them started, so I had to start over from scratch. But they later fixed that on in the coming future weapon drops, where you saw with Gunlance and now Heavy Bowgun, you get a quest to at least get you to make one weapon to grade 7 for you constantly using that weapon. The other weapons you still have to make over from scratch, but at least you get one that gives you a nice good head start that helps you experience the weapon. So that's pretty cool. One of the things that I didn't like in the beginning is I was so excited for their first test event. I remember it was probably about 3 weeks in, they decided they're going to have a Diablos event. Okay, cool. Diablos was not the best monster to start off with. right? Especially for those of us who were looking for Black Diablos. Now, I spent the whole day roaming around Prospect Park and I found 3 Black Diabloses that are paintballs. Paintballs weren't like they used to be. Like now, when the game just launched, if you missed the chance to hunt a paintball monster and you fail, it's gone. So out of those 3 Black Diabloses, I successfully beat one with my friends. It was 4 of us, right? So one of the problems is they launched an event with one of the strongest Apex monsters in the game, and the most effective weapons to beat him, if you weren't spamming paralysis weapons, the most effective weapons to beat him were ice. And I don't know about the rest of y'all, but the only way to make an ice weapon was to fight a Legiana, and his spawn rate he wasn't exactly in every locale. Right? I fortunately was able to make the first version of that weapon, but when it came to Black Diablos, we were severely lacking. Matter of fact, when I first beat the playthrough story, I didn't even have the Leggy weapon yet. I beat Diablos with the Great Jagger sword and shield. So whoever at Nitanic decided to launch a subspecies Black Diablo special monster during the 3rd week of Monster Hunter, you deserve a kick. That's all I'm saying. But regardless of that, the game started off to be very fun. It did slowly start to die down after a while because events weren't as frequent. But you understand that the game, the launching of the game was still very convenient, because as a Monster Hunter fan, I love that when I was traveling to work, taking a walking the park, walking to the gym, I'm able to pull my phone out and hunt some monsters. Right? At the end of the night, if I'm home, instead of watching TV, I might take an hour to go outside and hunt some monsters. So it was very convenient for people like me and other players that I could recommend, hey, let's go on a walk together. Right? Also, benefits of living in the city. I know I'm a little biased, but it was really easy for me to go and say, let's take a walk together and hunt with my friends. Now, Monster Hunter has had some game changes over the course of its launch. Right? Let's start with the fact that when hats were introduced, I was specifically in Japan because I have family in Japan. Dual blades were also introduced when hats were introduced, and Zinogre was also introduced when hats were introduced. So that to me was the first true hype event in Monster Hunter. Now, I was not only be able to take on all these new monsters, but I was in the heart of the Monster Hunter capital. I was literally in Tokyo. When I was in New York, I probably would get lucky if I can see 2 hunters in proximity. When I was in Japan, I saw 174 close players. And let me tell you this, it's December, and if you guys remember what December was like, the hunting range wasn't large. And there was no matchmaking on hats. So it was great to see a crap ton of people just out there hunting. It was a phenomenal experience, and one I hope to have again in the future. And Zinogre was nice because he was the first monster with an exclusive Rarity 6. And if you all know, hunting for Rarity 6 weren't fun when you just realized that every monster dropped them and it's a 2% drop rate. Because I would probably go a week and only get one in the beginning. But I think they patched that. I don't know if they really announced that they patched it, but at some point it became a lot easier to get reds. What I also enjoyed was with the start launch of Zinogre also came the launch of new seasons. Now you have monsters are going to change every season. We had Barioth and another monster, and you had a limited time to make armor and gear that could potentially be either easier to make or better than what you're used to. Barioth weapons were not as strong as Leggy weapons, but they were vastly easier to make. So for people who were still having trouble finding Legiana, that was cool. And then we had the first launch, I believe it was the Ice Quest. It came around a little bit after, where you can hunt a Barioth and a Leggy because their spawn rates were up. That was downright amazing, right? Because everyone who was severely lacking in ice weapons, especially since Zinogre himself was weak to ice, got an opportunity to build weapons that can help them farm hats. Now, the only downside to hats being launched is there was no matchmaking yet. So if you weren't strong enough to solo an 8-star Zinogre and a hat, which most people were not, you were basically hoping for some friends that can get you through that hat, while you best you can do is a 6 or 7 star Zinogre. I remember when it launched, I had just gotten my Leggy Sword and Shield to grade 755. Still not grade 8 yet because reds were still hard to get to. So I was only able to solo a 7-star hat, and even that was pushing it. The moment I got with two of my friends though, 8 stars was nothing. And I soloed an 8-star, two 8-stars in Japan because of the proximity, so that was cool. But to me, the biggest game changer, other than the fact that they started, adding more features, more monsters, more benefits, the biggest game changer was the increase in the hunting radius. Now I was able to hunt with my friends who were 6 blocks away and not have to walk to their house to help with them. I could just pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm going outside for a walk. Get your hunting cap ready. And they can do the same for me. I think that was phenomenal for people who were close by, because now we can cover more monsters in a wider area without having to be directly next to each other. And then, with the introduction of that, we also got matchmaking hats. Matchmaking hats was a game changer, especially for people in small towns who didn't have anyone to hunt with, because now they will constantly get support and do certain hats with people that they couldn't do before. Now, with matchmaking hats came a problem. A lot of people were looking to be carried because they weren't strong enough, and they truly believe, like, hey, I have a 5-star or a grade 6 weapon, and I can take on this 8-star Zinogre and actually put in damage. Now I get that, but there is actually a reality that some people didn't want to face. Because yes, if you're coming into a grade 8 or 8-star Zinogre with a grade 6 weapon, you're not putting in as much work as you think. If you can't do a certain amount of damage while soloing him, don't think you're carrying your own. Trust me. 4 people with grade 6 weapons versus an ogre in the beginning of when hats dropped is a lot different than having someone at a grade 8, 9, or 10 weapon. I'll tell you that. But I know that's a very opinionated topic, so I won't dive too deep into it. All in all, I guess the point that I need to get to is, with all the changes, the quality of life changes that have come with Monster Hunter now, I have thoroughly been enjoying this game. I was enjoying it before the quality of life changes, and I'm enjoying it a lot more. When DL links dropped, they were phenomenal. Titanic, you need to put back that range. Alright? I know you probably won't see this video anytime soon unless somehow it blows up, but you need to put back that range, because that was very disrespectful what you did, weakening the range. And now I have to walk. DL links have less range than me hunting with my friends. That don't make no sense. You need to put the range. At least put 50% of it back. Something. That's downright disgusting what you guys did. But the thing with Monster Hunter is, a lot of experienced hunters were upset in the beginning, right? Because we couldn't basically just pick up and go heal and take the monster on again. Our time was limited, right? And you have to buy potions. You get 5 free first aids a day, which I think is phenomenal, but you have to buy potions, so you couldn't spend hours hunting like you wanted to. I personally had to learn patience. There were monsters in the beginning that beat me. I wanted to go right back in there, punch them in the face. Right? Especially Black Diablos. Nice upgrade on the paintballs, by the way, giving us 3 tries, Titanic. I really appreciate that. But yes, there were monsters I wanted to hunt right away. But I had to adopt the mindset that this is not the Monster Hunter game that I know. This is a lifestyle game. This is a game that requires patience. If I get punched in the face and I'm low on health, all I have to do is wait 15 minutes to try again, because you get back 1 HP every 30 seconds and you only need 30% HP. Well, 30, but 30% if you have higher health, 30% HP to engage in a hunt again. So with that being said, I had to adopt the mindset that, okay, my first aids are going to be for special events or days when I'm out hunting consistently. If I'm walking to work and I get punched in the face by a monster, I have to put my phone away. Right? This Monster Hunter now is a lifestyle game. Right? It's a long-term game. You're not meant to make a grade 10 weapon in a month. You're meant to make a grade 10 weapon over the course of 2, 3, 4 months. Right? Especially with the drop parts being luck. I first fought a Devil Joe and I didn't get a rarity 6 until over a month in. Same for Mitsu. It took me over a month to get a Mitsu plate. My first Mitsu plate was the event reward, and I was hunting 8 and 9 stars. But then Rajan drops, and I get 3 plate drops in one, not 3 pelt drops in one day. Then I double, and now I have 6. It's the luck, the RNG, the fortunate it's real. It's a real thing. I personally like to use dual blades, and I call the Desire Sensor. I'm fighting Tiestra. I get his reds to make weapons so much, and I can't make any weapons because he doesn't make dual blades. I did upgrade his armor though, so now I have really good, blast armor. And with the Magnum Malo dual blades, now I can join the blast fight. But all in all, guys, 1 year of Monster Hunter, it's been a phenomenal experience, if you ask me. The game has done the franchise justice, and for all of you this game is your first introduction to Monster Hunter, I hope you've been having fun, right? Because a lot of people don't have the time to grind and do all these things. So this is a very convenient way to have the Monster Hunter experience and still live your life, right? When you have a 9-to-5 job, when you work in an office, you don't have time to, especially if you have a family, you don't have time to just come home and sit down for a few hours a day to grind out a certain part and play with your friends for too long. I get it, right? I absolutely get it. But I still love the Monster Hunter franchise. So this was my experience. This was okay, you know what? I am going to play this game and I'm going to be as efficient as possible because sometimes I need to work 10, 12 hours a day. Right? So I definitely say, hey, if you haven't tried the game, this is your public service announcement to try Monster Hunter. Right? These featured events where you get 50% more rewards for hunting a specific species or a specific type of monster, or where they're starting to give guaranteed events at the end of quests. Guaranteed rarity 6s at the end of quests. These are the events I need to see for unlucky people like me to encourage me to keep hunting. Keep hunting, keep grinding, keep getting better, because I will eventually get the parts that I need. Right? I now have rarity 10 Zenobia dual blades, rarity 10 Mitsu dual blades, rarity 10 that I just completed last week, Devil Joe dual blades. Right? Now, I haven't made any fire dual blades because I don't want to make Anjanath fire dual blades since I already had his Sworded Shield at 9. And the only other stronger fire weapon would be Rathalos, but he doesn't make dual blades. So I'm stuck on rarity 10-4. I forgot his name. Anjanath dual blades. Okay? But I'm already at rarity 8. Magnum Hollow Blast dual blades. And I have the Paralysis Sworded Shield at grade 9 for Great Gyarados. Right? It's a grind. All these things took me months to make. Now, the fact that I finished Mitsu, that was luck. The fact that you only need half as much reds to make him, that was luck. And I have not been a pay-to-win player. I do buy the monthly pass where I get like 50 gems a day. I do that. But that's really about it. And I buy the premium for the season pass, so I can get extra rewards and money as I hunt up, which I think has been a great addition, by the way. All in all, I am looking forward to another year of Monster Hunter now. And I hope you guys are too. Right? I'm enjoying the release of the subspecies, the release of the Elder Dragons, and, you know, I wish there's only a few quality of life features I would ask for, but I'm not going to be greedy because I am happy with what we have. But I am going to mention those features just in case Titanic looks at this video. Feature number 1 is, when I'm having a hat, can I invite my friends that are far away instead of just being randomly paired up? If I have a specific friend group that I want to hunt with, can I just invite that friend group, as long as their timer is free, to a hat? And please put back DL links to a certain distance. Come on, why you guys do that to us, man? You know how nice it was sitting in my office and being able to pick up a DL link from down the block? Now I have to give up on it because I can't leave my chair. That's cool what you guys did. You guys made it super convenient for people like me, and then you took it away. That's disrespectful. And last feature is, for every 100 ranks, can we earn more first aids from the gift shop? Right now we all get 5. But let's say, hey, you get to rank 100. Now instead of 5 a day, you get 6 a day. Rank 200, now instead of 6 a day, you get 7 a day. And so on and so on and so on. I feel like that would make the ranks worth it. Right? And you doesn't always have to be first aids. First 100 could be first aids. Second 100 could not be well done steaks that you guys have added to the shop. Now you get to 300, it could be first aid again. Just throw some ideas out there for you, Titanic. But I know that means you'd have to keep track of player ranks and all that stuff, and I get it. It might be complicated. I'm not a coder. But I would just encourage you to reward players more for playing longer. And I also appreciate people having to be certain ranks to do certain level of hats, because not everyone wants to carry somebody. Right? Other people are looking to power up their weapons, not carry. I'm joining most hats to carry people now because they're the only monster I need from a hat is a Rajang. All the others are basically useless at this point. Rajang and then the Elder Dragon Interception, all I need is a Kusadora. I don't care about anything else. But anyway, guys, sorry for the long video. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Let me know what you think and what's been your favorite part of the Monster Hunter Now Year 1. And I'm looking forward to Year 2. And for all of you who I've hunted with, thanks for, being a good partner. And for the rest of you, happy hunting, and I look forward to catching up with you. Don't forget to like and subscribe this video. Happy hunting.